When was the last time you picked up that classic Guitar Hero controller and jammed out to some classic rock? Chances are, it's been a while. Though the franchise burned hot and bright for years, it soon earned a bad reputation. And after over a decade without a new installment, our plastic guitar controllers have been laid to rest. But a brand new game from a familiar publisher is setting fire to sleeping giants, and through the fire and the flames, they're looking to prove that you can still rock in America. In other words, the history of Guitar Hero is kind of a wild ride on the crazy train, and it's gone even further off the rails since the game's original publisher went rogue and announced a spiritual successor that hopes to reclaim its rightful place as the true guitar hero of this story. Okay, setting aside all the song references and bad puns, just for a second, we need to make it clear right off the bat that Guitar Hero was revolutionary. Sure, gimmicky controllers weren't new to home gaming, but good gimmicky controllers? Well, now we're singing a different tune. That didn't last long. When Guitar Hero first became available for the PlayStation 2 on November 8, 2005, having to purchase a fake plastic guitar to play a silly little rhythm game seemed a little over the top. But Red Octane knew their idea would speak for itself. Originally, Red Octane wasn't even a game publisher. They made hardware, or more specifically, they developed dance pads and joysticks for home consoles and arcade games. But after publishing their first rhythm game with In the Groove in 2004, the company wanted to take things further. What if, instead of just dancing along to the music, players got to feel like they were making the music? What if they could use their hardware development skills to create a one-of-a-kind gaming experience? What if they just copied Japan's wildly popular Guitar Freaks game? So yeah, okay, we might have been vamping a little when we said Guitar Hero was revolutionary. In reality, the concept of a rhythm-based game using a guitar-shaped controller had already been invented way back in 1999 by Konami. What Red Octane did, with the help of musical game developer Harmonix, was bring the idea stateside and imbue it with the spirit of rock and roll, or at least an approximation of it. Licensing the real songs on Guitar Hero's setlist would have been way too expensive, so they settled for covers, and also made some serious improvements to Konami's controller, adding more fret buttons, a whammy bar, and designing it to resemble a classic Gibson SG. The mix of attitude, stellar design, and a killer soundtrack full of iconic songs made Guitar Hero an instant hit. By the end of 2005, the game had done about $45 million in sales, and just about everyone was bragging about being able to complete Bark at the Moon on expert difficulty, whether they actually could or not. Naturally, that kind of success spawned sequels, but what Red Octane and Harmonix didn't know was that their triumphant opening number would lead to a symphony of destruction. It shouldn't be too surprising to learn that Guitar Hero games don't take too long to develop. It's an extremely simple concept with a very basic gameplay loop, and it's not like they were spending a lot of extra time on those backgrounds or character models. Guitar Hero 2 came out almost exactly a year after the first game, on November 8th of 2006. Despite the success of the first game, it was still a challenge to get licensed music. Not only were the song rights expensive, but most labels didn't really understand what Guitar Hero was, or why video games were popular. So they were hesitant to even let Red Octane get their hands on the music, so they added even more cover songs instead. Recognizable music originally from Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, Lynyrd Skynyrd, The Police, Nirvana, and more all appeared on Guitar Hero 2. But the biggest change wasn't the setlist, it was the publisher. The sequel to Guitar Hero was no longer a PlayStation exclusive, and if you bought the Xbox 360 version of the game to get that sick white Gibson Explorer controller, you might have noticed the Activision logo on the box art. In June of 2006, 5 months before Guitar Hero 2 was released, Activision purchased Red Octane outright for nearly $100 million, meaning the most financially successful rhythm game franchise of all time was now under the same corporate umbrella as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Call of Duty. Then, in 2006, Harmonix was bought out by MTV Games, which meant they'd no longer be able to work on the Guitar Hero franchise. The partnership between the original creators of the series had officially ended, but the show must go on when there's money to be made. As an official member of the Activision family, Red Octane ended up working with Neversoft to develop the next main game in the franchise, Guitar Hero 3: Legends of Rock. But their name would be left off the credits. As the years flew by like button prompts on 200% speed, Activision continued to push the franchise. With money and social capital on their side, Guitar Hero was finally able to catch the attention of musicians, putting out band-specific expansions. They also dabbled in handheld ports and even put out a mobile game. All these extra projects meant more teams working on Guitar Hero. Neversoft, Budcat, Asper, Vicarious Visions, and a ton of other developers all helped to fine-tune the franchise. But Red Octane was noticeably absent from most of these projects. The last Guitar Hero game to actually have Red Octane's name on it was 2008's Guitar Hero World Tour, and in 2010, Activision completely closed down that branch of the company. So basically, Activision bought Red Octane, took possession of their IP, removed it from the hands of the developers that made it, and then kept milking the franchise for all it was worth. That's not to say that all the games published under Activision were bad. Everyone has their own personal favorite Guitar Hero game, and honestly, Guitar Hero 3 might be the best, but in a tale as old as time, Activision wasn't really concerned with quality. They were concerned with profitability, and the series would end up suffering for it. The final Guitar Hero game, called Guitar Hero Live, was released in October of 2015. The controller added a sixth button, and the game included 42 songs, which could be played over footage of real actors on stage. But the main, selling point was the online song library. The song library was a backlog of 200 tracks to play along with over the official music videos. But if you wanted to select one of those songs, you'd have to spend some in-game currency to do so. The currency could be earned through playing the game, or by buying it with real-world money. For just $2.50, you could get 10 playable songs, or for $6, you could have unlimited songs for a day. That's right, Guitar Hero had fallen victim to the microtransaction trend that had taken over the industry in the 2010s. And the worst part, after purchasing one of these songs, it wasn't permanently unlocked. You were only renting it. So if you wanted to play it again later, you'd have to buy it all over again. This aggressively greedy business decision led to poor sales and poorer critical reviews, despite the genuinely innovative gameplay mechanics with the newly configured controller. And thus, Guitar Hero was shoved off the public stage. The audience was booing, and there would be no encore. Today, more than a decade later, the franchise is still dormant. It's collecting dust like the plastic Gibson SGs in our closet. But that doesn't mean the dream is dead. In February of 2026, 20 years after the original Guitar Hero came out, Red Octane announced that it was getting the band back together, literally. In collaboration with some ex-employees of Vicarious Visions and with the backing of Gibson themselves, Red Octane is planning to release a game called Stage Tour in the fall of 2026, and one look at the gameplay tells you all you need to know about what this is. Stage Tour will offer rhythm-based musical gameplay that you can experience solo or with 3 other players. It will support the use of plastic instrument controllers that aren't limited to just guitars. You'll also be able to use drums and microphone accessories you probably own thanks to, other rhythm game franchises. Right now, we don't know much more about Stage Tour. And yeah, okay, it definitely looks like it could have come out back in 2006, but that doesn't mean it won't be fun to play. And isn't there something poetic, even lyrical, about Red Octane rising from the ashes to continue their legacy after being burned by Activision? Guitar Hero was pure fun and imagination at its core. When you really think about it, it's kind of silly to sit down and play a fake guitar along to covers of songs you recognize. But we all did it. And we felt cool as hell too. We need to reignite that kind of joy and whimsy in gaming, because that's what breeds innovation. So I'm not saying you definitely need to go and wishlist Stage Tour on Steam or anything, but if you were ever a fan of Guitar Hero, at least keep your eyes open for the alpha that's supposed to be open for signups in a couple months. And with that, we've reached the end of our set. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, consider letting us know by hitting the thumbs up, and if you're still here, let us know in the comments. What was your favorite Guitar Hero game? And when did you fall off the franchise?